Page 40. Reading. After the Crash. Chapter 1.
Helen woke up on a beach. For a moment, she had no idea where she was, but she knew that she had never been there before. Very carefully, she stood up. On her left, waves crashed violently onto the sand. On her right, there was a dense rainforest. Eventually, she found Dawson. He was lying on his back about 50 meters away. She tapped him gently until he came to. "I think I've broken my arm," he whispered softly. "Where are the others?" "I don't know," she replied. "They must be in the forest. Come on, we have to find them." Suddenly, there was a deafening roar from inside the forest. "I'm not going into the forest," he said. "It's dangerous. There are wild animals in there." "Listen," she said firmly. "There were 11 people in that helicopter. The others might still be alive. I'm going into the forest. You can come with me or not." She glanced briefly into the forest. The trees were close together and she couldn't see anything clearly. She had never been so scared in her life.
Chapter 2.
Helen walked into the forest. It felt cold and dark. Suddenly, there was a movement in the trees behind her. It was Dawson, stumbling towards her. "Wait for me," he said breathlessly. "You can't go in there alone." They continued walking. After a few minutes, they saw some smoke. "Oh no," said Helen. "It looks like fire." Then she heard another voice calling her name. It was Richard. "Helen, over here!" She ran towards him and hugged him. "You're alive," she said. "What about the others?" "Follow me," he replied.
My favorite story is when I traveled with my father and sister to a family reunion in Georgia. We all piled into this car, then we gassed it up, we got on the road, and maybe 25 minutes into it, a flat tire. Unfortunately, this was before everybody had a cell phone, so we waited for the police to come get us. The police laughed a little because it was hot and my father's left with 2 children. Learned how to change a tire that day. Tires changed. We're back on the road. About 5 hours later, my father got a speeding ticket because he was trying to save time. Met some more policemen, very exciting. Got back on the road and made it in time for a beautiful family reunion and had a wonderful time driving back with my dad.
I think one of my favorite stories is a Christmas story. We were living in this big old house, my parents and my 2 older brothers and myself, and we were having a family get-together. I'm not quite sure if it was Christmas Eve or if it was Christmas Day, but all of a sudden we were all in the living room having a grand old time, and we heard "ho, ho, ho" on the stairs, and I remember as a little kid getting so nervous and excited but nervous and not knowing what to do and could it be Santa and whatnot. And, my parents told us to go to the stairs, and we went to the staircase, looked up, and there was Santa Claus coming down the stairs with a bag of toys and whatnot. The funny thing was, I guess my father didn't really look into the best friend that he could have asked to play Santa Claus because he asked one of his friends that didn't speak English. So our Santa Claus only spoke Portuguese, and the whole time he was pretty much complaining that we were too heavy sitting on his lap, and he was swearing in Portuguese and complaining that it was hot in the suit and how we wanted to eat. But as kids, we didn't realize any of that. We didn't even realize that Santa couldn't speak to us. We were just so excited that he was there and bringing us presents.